Welcome to a shooting tutorial. One of the things that I really like so far about FIFA 21 is shooting just feels a lot more balanced, and by that I mean there's a lot more options, a lot more variety of ways you can shoot, finish your chances on FIFA 21 compared to FIFA 20. One of the things that really frustrated me on FIFA 20 was that it was just so hard to score anything other than a near post finish. So we're going to show you some of the techniques on FIFA 21. I'll show you some of the different options you've got. I'll show you, I recreated these in the game to show you exactly how the chances should look. I'm going to show you how they are, when you should be doing them, where you should be doing them from, and which ones are the most effective. Okay, the first one we're going to look at is the most popular one from FIFA 20, is the near post finish. On FIFA 20, this was by far the best shooting option. It's good still on FIFA 21, but it's not overpowered. It is not the only technique really, but I'm going to show you some examples of me using it. As you can see here, I get into that position and I just hit a power shot, aim it that way, and it just flies into the top corner. Very simple. You can see here, we get into a good position with Rodrigo. Generally from here, I would be getting a bit closer. I'd probably get to there and then hit a finesse into that corner. But for this one, we were testing the near post power, and it wasn't as good there. You can see there that keepers deal with it a lot better. On the previous FIFA, that would have just flown past the keeper, and maybe could have hit it with a bit more power, but it was nice to see that it doesn't always go in as consistently as last FIFA. Okay, so you can see here we get in a pretty good position. For this, to recreate it, I went into a game with someone who let me get the shooting opportunities, but these type of chances do represent themselves or recreate even in actual games, so you will get these. Here, you can see there I put 3 bars of power on. It was a bit too hard and it just hit the bar and came back down. You probably want to be hitting that with 2.5 bars. Okay, so in this position, we get into a very good chance with Neymar. Again, here you probably either want to get closer and tap it to the side for an open net. Those are always worth going for on FIFA just because they're guaranteed goals. Or a finesse, but again we were trying the near post power. Let's see how it went in. Didn't. Keepers deal with it a lot better on this FIFA. So the near post power shots are nowhere near as strong on this game, which I personally like. I don't think they're the main option you should be going for. But if the keeper's on his line, middle of the net, then they're still pretty strong. The most consistent shot that I have found on FIFA 21, in terms of it just seems to be so accurate, and I can barely ever remember one missing, is the lob shot. To do that on PlayStation, it is L1 plus circle, or on Xbox, it is LB plus B. It is incredibly consistent. The main thing is just don't put too much power on, but they pretty much never go wide. I'll show you some examples. See, it comes through. This is Emre Can. Emre Can, I don't know what his finish is off the top of my head. I think it'll be the high 60s, low 70s. So it's really not very special. And this is quite a way out. And look at that. It is perfect. It lands about there. That is almost centre of the net. These shots are just so accurate and consistent. Okay, we get another chance here with Eden Hazard. Obviously in an actual game you'd probably want to through ball and just give that easy chance to your other player, but in this position we're trying to test out lob shots. Keeper's off his line and again just perfectly sails over him. Keeper's not very good at dealing with this. This potentially could get patched because they're just so accurate and keepers are really bad against them, but for now they're a very strong way of scoring goals. As I was saying before, one of the things that I really like about FIFA 21 is the variety of shots you've got. It allows you to be able to be a bit more creative, go for a few different types of attacks rather than constantly have to try to set up the same angle. I also think it encourages thinking a bit more, thinking really what is the best shot type in this situation. I don't think right now there is a shot that you have to be going for over the other shots. My favourite shot type on FIFA throughout all the FIFAs I've played tends to be the finesse shot. I don't think it is quite as strong as one of the techniques we're going to get to. That'll be the far post power, but I still think it's very useful in the right situation. So you can see here, Neymar gets there. On the previous FIFA, you'd have always hit a power shot. Here though, with the keeper in a pretty good position, I want to finesse it with quite a bit of power to just bend it round him into the corner. So you can see where it goes. It goes right into the corner. There is not a lot the keeper can do to deal with that. Okay, in this position, we do a little trick with Rodrigo, the heel to heel. That isn't quite smooth this year, but it still tends to be a good way if people get caught out by it to separate, get a bit of gap. And there, you can see there, it's quite far out, but 16 yards, not a very easy chance. And Rodrigo puts it right into the corner. If you get it on that type of angle, where your player can just open his body up, the finesse tends to be really strong. Okay, this position here is a classic one in real life, where players like to open their body up and hit the shot across there. So let's see what Rodrigo does. Keeper is positioned in line with about there, so this corner tends to be open. So this is where I'm going to go for a finesse shot. I think Rodrigo has the finesse shot trait. The finesse shot trait, effectively what it does is just adds more curve to the shot. According to the research I've done before about the finesse shot trait, it doesn't change the position the ball ends in. So if you don't have the finesse shot trait, it would still go there compared to, it wouldn't change direction in terms of where it finishes. It is more a case of just it gets more curve, so it bends around the keeper more, which obviously makes it harder to save. But Rodrigo puts it into the corner and the keeper doesn't even move. If I had to pick a single technique, which is probably strongest at the moment for shooting, I would say it's the far post power shot. So on last FIFA, it was the near post. Quite often on FIFA, 1 year it goes from one thing to the opposite. So near post is obviously the opposite to the far post. On this FIFA, the far post feels particularly strong. It doesn't feel too strong that I think it needs changing, and other shooting types still are better options in certain ones, but the far post seems quite powerful. The chip shot is the most powerful in general, but you just don't get as much opportunities to use the chip shot, because obviously you have to get into a one-on-one with the keeper off his line. But in this position here, Rodrigo, the keeper's kind of centre of the net, and he just powers it past him, and keepers just don't seem to deal with it very well. You can see here, Rodrigo's in a good position. A lot of people there on the previous FIFA would have powered it or take another touch and then finessed it. Here, I want to hit it across the goal. It's 16 yards out, which isn't an easy finish, but Rodrigo just beats the keeper easily. Okay, again here we can see Rodrigo has got into a very good position. Let's watch how he finishes this. So you can see it, that's not a particularly great angle to be shooting. And normally on previous FIFAs, I'd probably gone there and just tried to finesse it to curve it around him. But again, the far post seems really good. And it's just very accurate. It just always seems to go in the corner. And just seems a much more consistent way of scoring this FIFA. I like that, because on previous FIFAs it felt like it just wasn't working. Whereas on this one, it's far more viable. Okay, another technique that I'm going to show you, it isn't so much the shot that's part of this. It is the trick you do before it. It is ball rolling a keeper. But the reason I'm putting this in the shooting tutorial is because shooting is more so about the decision making than the actual power or accuracy you put on. Like, shooting isn't too hard on FIFA to get the power or accuracy right. It's more just making the right shot selection at the right time. One of the things you probably noticed in this shooting tutorial is I haven't done any from outside the box. It's because unfortunately on this FIFA, the last FIFA, shooting outside the box has been pretty useless. You don't really want to ever shoot outside the box, it's just not very efficient. About the furthest I would go shooting outside the box is if you have a very good player like a Messi, maybe a Finesse, but they're still just not very consistent. I've tried them a lot in this game, and they just don't work very well. Often, in this position on this game, I will end up chipping it now. Chip shots just seem a lot more consistent this year, but one of the guaranteed ways of scoring that still works very well is a ball roll around the keeper when you get one-on-one. So I want to do the ball roll here when I'm about that far from him. That is about 2, maybe 3 touches away. And when I get that far away from the keeper, it works really well because it allows me to just burst past him. The keeper will fall over and I'll get an open net to finish him. So watch. And see that? Very easy, and then I'll do a cheeky little finish afterwards. Okay, you can see here we're going to get a one-on-one opportunity again against the keeper. The thing I like about the ball is once you get the timing down, and it will take a little bit of practice, just make sure it's a couple of touches before the keeper would get to you. They will not be able to save it. It's like a 99% chance. Occasionally the keeper might get it, but it's so rare that they ever get it that it's just a guaranteed goal. Just watch this. Do it early enough, the keeper dives past me, and it is an easy finish. It's a nice little technique that will make quite a big difference in your one-on-ones and being more efficient. A final tip I'd like to give is that on last FIFA, weak foot was so important that a 4-star weak foot would miss easy chances. On this game, it's not as essential. 4-star weak foots don't make quite as big a difference. I've even scored some pretty hard finishes with 3-star weak foots. For my striker, ideally, once you've got a pretty good team, I'd want at least 4-star, but for now, you can get away without it. Boys, hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching this shooting tutorial.